Okay. So, I forgot that I said that I wanted to tell him something specific. I don't even remember what that specific thing was. But I did talk to him on the phone for like a brief moment. And I basically, you know, I basically just said that I want to be able to see my file. You know, he gave me an address where I can go, I guess, and like request to see my file or whatever. Because the idea of like, you know, my entire, like, how do I say this? Like, the idea of my mental health being at the risk, being at, you know what I mean? Like, of, I don't think I'm saying this correctly, but like the idea of like, like that being affected because like of somebody else's perception of like my existence, you know, because when you boil it down, that's what it is. It's a perspective. Like, you witnessed me, you wrote down some notes. That was a banana. You wrote down some notes, and whatever your perception is supposed to, like, you know what I mean? Because once again, he said that the reason why he chose my case was because of my file, whatever was in my file. And I'm like, that's not cool, because I don't know what she said. Like, I imagine maybe she said that I was argumentative, or like, I don't know, like, I don't know what she said. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, for me to get somebody who used to work in the prison system, you know what I mean? I think there's something wrong with that. Like, why is this the guy who's working on my case? I'm not an aggressive person. I'm just very in tune with myself, and I'm very in tune with the truth of myself. And so when somebody angers me, I'm very quick to express that. If it's productive, if it's possible, if it's useful, you know? And so, like, I don't even remember the other thing I said. Oh, also, I wanted to start this video with saying, like, I think it's funny, my growing awareness, because, like, I can tell when other people are anxious about me. And I think it's so funny because for the longest time, I've always interpreted that as like me being anxious around other people. But like, no, because I have no reason to be anxious. I have no reason to be upset. You know, like, it doesn't make sense. So when I call you on the phone, or I'm just thinking of your energy, and I start getting upset, start getting angry, I start getting anxious, I'm like, okay, bitch, this isn't me. This is not fucking me. And I don't know, I think maybe he was expecting me to go like more bananas on him. I don't know. But it's like, I hate that, like, how do I say that? Like, I hate that we live in a world where, as a highly sensitive person, I have to be conscious of what other people's intentions are for me. Like, I have to be that car is fucked the fuck up. It's not that bad, but oh my goodness, you can hardly see it, but yeah. Anyways, I think it sucks that we live in a world where me, as a highly sensitive person, has to be mindful and aware that a lot of people actually are quite evil, and will try to irritate you, and that's what he was saying in chapel service too. If I could go back to chapel service real quick, he was saying that when you walk with God, when you try to live spiritually aligned or whatever, there will be people who try to test you, who try to like challenge you. And I think there's such a thing as healthy challenge, for sure, for shizzle, don't get me wrong, there is healthy challenge. But when the goal is to get you to react negatively, or the goal is to get you to like come down to their level, I think that's really not kosher. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and I was thinking about this, I don't know if I explained it properly, but there's a big difference between somebody challenging you because they want to, like, you know that you're about it, and then somebody challenging you just to like make you upset, or just to like piss you off or something, you know, because people do that, and it's like, what the fuck? And then a lot of times these same people will like justify their actions based on how you respond, which is once again why you and I have to be super cognizant of other people's intentions and movements and whatnot, because it's like, if you're not, then you will end up overreacting to a situation where it was intended for you to overreact, and now people are painting you in a bad light because you couldn't contain yourself, because you couldn't control yourself. And it's just like, once again, I think it's fucked up that we live in that sort of world, but the flip side of that is just having awareness and knowing that that is the world that we live in, you know? And I think everybody's different. I think there's no one size fits all, but I think generally it's a really good idea to try to distance yourself from these sorts of people, because like, they're just gonna keep doing the fuck shit that they're doing. They're just gonna keep poking and trying to like see if you're really about it, and it's just like, you're weird, you need to get a grip, like, because what the fuck are you pushing me for, you know what I mean? Like, and of course cognitive dissonance is a huge thing with these sorts of people. Like, they don't want to have to think of themselves as a bad person or doing a bad thing for more than 5 seconds, so they'd rather just deflect and blame it on the other person instead of just taking a moment and being like, why did I push them so hard? Why did I do that? You know? But I digress. Because then I think sometimes, as a highly sensitive person, as a very intelligent, spiritually aligned person, like, sometimes you want to prove people wrong. You want to, you know, stick it to the man and be like, you know, But once again, when you recognize their intentions, when you recognize where their mind is, it's like, it's a waste of energy to try to prove anything to these people, because they're just going to do what they do. They're just going to exist how they choose to exist, you know, and that's fine, but exist that way away from me. That's the bottom line. Like, it's okay for you to be that way, but get away from me with that. And I was thinking about this before. I think I was recording a video where this thought came through. Maybe it's necessary for narcissists to exist. Maybe it's necessary that we have people in the world who are so blinded and potentially dangerous because of their blindness. You know, maybe it's necessary. Maybe that's a necessary evil, you know, for people to evolve and people to grow. Because I know for a fact, like, some of the wisdoms that I carry, some of the lessons that I've learned, have unfortunately come from witnessing and experiencing and having to deal with people like that, like narcissistic people who refuse to like self-reflect and refuse to like own up to their BS. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the things that I've had to learn came from dealing with people like that, you know? Because they're not gonna budge, they're not gonna, you know what I mean? And maybe it's necessary for me to have a rounded perspective, because I wouldn't understand the woes of the world. I wouldn't understand the plights of man if I didn't experience such, oh my God, such grievances, you know? I'm sorry to harp on this, but I'm thinking again about that guy trying to tell me, oh my goodness, you're so loud. Why are you so loud, school bus? You ain't got no business being that loud. Ain't no even, oh, there's one child on the bus. I was about to say, there's no children on the bus. Why are you so fucking loud? But I'm still thinking about him saying, maybe that was a sign that I don't need to talk about it, but I want to talk about it, bitch. The fact that he said what he said about me going to prison, like, obviously, use your discernment. Like, what I'm showing you, what I'm presenting to you could be false. Like, you know what, I always use your discernment. Don't trust anything. Everybody's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, but knowing how I present myself and how I, you know what I mean, interact with the world, I think it's ridiculous that anybody would ever say something like that to me. You're gonna go to prison. You're gonna get murdered and like, what? What? Like, I can understand the latter part. I can understand saying that you might get beat up for like speaking recklessly, but it's not even reckless, man, because I'm very aware of how I come across and how strong my energy is, I don't go around just speaking unnecessary truths to people. 9 times out of 10, it only comes out when I feel like I'm being attacked, when I feel like I'm being pushed into a corner, Also, it was just really windy. I really hope that the audio is okay for this. But yeah, that really, because when I really sat with that, I was able to eat it up in the moment. But when I really sat with it and thought about it, I'm like, what the fuck? You're supposed to be helping me, encouraging me. I'm telling you I'm spiritually aligned. And you fix your lips to tell me that I'm going down the wrong path. That at this rate I'm going to end up in prison or murdered. You're a fraud. You're a phony. And once again, it's not out of malice. I'm not saying this out of malice, out of pettiness, to be I hope bad things come to you. But on an objective level, you should not have the job that you have if that is how you treat people who are in the vulnerable situations that they are in. And I can only imagine what kind of fuckery he might have been spreading before. And in chapel service, thank God for having good people in preacher positions, because I think this guy's a really good preacher. One of the things that he said that really resonated with me was that the punishment for purposely leading, or even not purposely, but just generally leading a believer astray is quite harsh. And I was thinking about that in relation to what he said, because I'm like, that's literally what would have happened. If I was a different person, I would have maybe believed him and I would have been like, okay, maybe I do need to change, maybe. But me having the awareness that I have, me being solid as I am, I'm like, I hear that. I hear you're on the road to prison. And I'm like, you're full of shit. What? What? I've literally never had somebody say that to me before, I don't think. I've had people tell me that I need to be careful what I say so I don't get beat up. But for somebody to tell me that I'm going to prison, you're crazy. You're crazy. What? And once again, part of my frustration with all of this is not just because of me, myself, and I, but because also I recognize that these people have other people in their grips, in their clientele, who need a lot more than I do, because quite honestly, I think, if I could be super transparent right now, the wind is going so hard, I hope that you can hear me over the wind. But I think the biggest issue for me, if I could be super transparent, is that I experience a lot of pain. As a highly sensitive person, I experience a lot of pain, a lot of feelings that are not my own. And my biggest issue is not having the strength, or feeling like I don't have the strength to really sit with that and not find ways to alleviate that pain. And some of those ways that I alleviate the pain is through marijuana, and that obviously requires a purchase. And so that's my dilemma, you know what I mean? I'm trying to make sure that I don't go fucking crazy, because people are fucking crazy, I'm living in a fucking nut world. I was gonna say nut house, but a nut world where people are fucking nuts and people are backwards and people are you know what I mean? Just disgusting. Quite honestly, people are gross. People do the most inhumane things and then try to sweep it under the rug like it didn't happen. And once again, however people choose to live is how people choose to live. But I think when it directly impacts my path, when it directly influences and hinders my path, that's when it becomes an issue. Because I'm minding my business. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm pouring into people who want to be poured into. I'm trying to guide people who want to be guided. And you're doing whatever the fuck you're doing because you're in your feelings, because you're jealous, because you're feeling how you feel. And once again, you're entitled to feel however you feel and do whatever you do. But back to the chapel service, when it directly impacts and negatively influences God's children, that's when it becomes an issue, because what the fuck are you doing? Go direct that energy towards somebody else. Go direct that energy towards yourself, bitch. How about you fucking mature and grow the fuck up? You keep complaining about the woes of your life, but you keep creating them, bitch. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I got too serious. But really, that's how I be feeling about these niggas. about these people, excuse me, because what the fuck? What the fuck? And once again, to shout out Jamie Foxx's terrible movie Day Shift. I love the movie on some aspect, but it also pissed me off in a lot of different ways. And one of the biggest things, I talked about this in a recent video, one of the biggest things was the hubris. The human hubris. The way that these humans felt so cocky and like full of themselves to like blatantly disrespect these immortal, and I say immortal, they weren't immortal I guess because they could be killed, but basically god-like creatures because they wanted to feel superior. And it's like, that's how people act. People will literally spit in the face of magical people and spit in the face of people who are sent to like help them because you think you're better than me, you show me my flaws, I don't like that, you make me uncomfortable, I don't want to be uncomfortable, so I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, what? Be fucking for real, bitch. Be fucking for real. And the fact that you have to live with yourself and you still don't even choose to live with yourself. You dissociate, you know what I mean? You deflect, you fantasize. It's really crazy, the world that we live in. But I'm going to end this here. I'm going to say, I hope you know God loves you. I hope you know miracles happen all the time. Whatever you're going through, man, super temporary. It will end at some point. Keep your head up. Keep your spirits high. It will be okay. All right? Bye.